Greetings! Let's talk safety equipment. In a comment, someone asked me to add some information about safety equipment to a future video, and I thought I'd just make a whole video on it because there's a lot to cover. And I still won't cover all of it. This will not be a complete overview of all there is to know about safety equipment, but it'll be a good place to get started, and I'll put some links down in the description for further reading. And I suggest you read all of that, and if you want to be safe, don't do metal casting. That's probably the best idea. Just don't do it. But if you're going to do it anyway, here's some stuff to think about. Point number 1, outerwear. This is what I've been wearing in a lot of videos, and I got some comments, why the blazer, or stop with the blazer, and I'll explain why. This is my work jacket. It's got my name Paul. It's very durable. It's dark, it hides stains, it gets filthy all the time, I wash it often, and here is a leather jacket. So there are some different things to keep in mind with all of these jackets. Length, materials, comfort, that kind of thing. This is not a very long jacket. The sleeves aren't very long, they kind of end here, but I can move around in it. This is very long, goes all the way down to my knees, which is great. Large coverage, very comfortable, very warm. By warm, I mean it insulates well. It keeps my heat in. It also keeps heat out, which is great. This doesn't quite insulate as well, but it's a dense leather kind of barrier, which is pretty good against like spatter, like welding splatter, which is why a lot of welders wear leather, but it's not very long. Why choose this one? Well, this one is polyester. This is polyester, this liner's polyester, fleece. Basically, if this thing gets anywhere near my 2,000 degree furnace, it is going to melt onto my skin. That is bad. This is wool. Wool is hair of a sheep, if you didn't already know that. I know, thank you, Captain Obvious, but wool does not melt. Wool is fire retardant, believe it or not. Fire resistant. This inner liner, I think, is acrylic. That's not so good, but it's got, like, this is cotton, this is wool. Very, very thick, and you can find that information wherever the tag is. So be sure to look at your tag. Go for natural materials, cotton, wool. Those are the two you want, cotton or wool. Polyester, bad. Acrylic, bad. Fleece, bad. Wool, good. Leather, also good. This is a free jacket that I got, and it doesn't really fit me very well, so it kind of restricts movement, and it doesn't cover my legs. The furnace goes on the ground, so as I'm walking around it, this is kind of like a extra fat guy's jacket, so it doesn't quite fit. It kind of is like a balloon, it leaves like a parachute underneath. If there was anything popping up out of the furnace, it would go right up. So that's why I kind of want the long jacket. Long. Also, normal clothes. Cotton shirt, make sure you're wearing a cotton shirt. Blue jeans. I usually wear blue jeans when I'm not at work. Blue jeans are cotton, natural materials. My shoes, the shoe top is cotton also. Sole, not so much. Like, if you want a full outfit, you can get pretty cheap in a leather jacket, leather, like overalls, cover everything, leather boots. It'll cover you pretty good. You can also get like firefighters equipment, like their aluminized Kevlar or whatever jackets. They're not so cheap. But if you're gonna just grab a jacket at home, make sure it has decent coverage and natural materials. Next up, gloves. I have 3 pairs of what you might call leather gloves here. They also vary in length and insulation ability and materials. So they each have leather palms, which is nice. This one is really long. These are welding gloves. These tend to be pretty thick. They also have this large sheath, and that's supposed to go over your sleeve. Usually you have a leather jacket that goes under this. So as you're welding, spray gets deflected out. It won't get caught in. That's important for metal casting over, say, these gloves. These are like leather gardening gloves. They insulate decently well. They're not as thick. They're softer. You have more maneuverability. Maneuverability, by the way, very important because you are handling molten metal. You don't want to like get your finger jammed up inside of something and drop it, because that would just be stupid. So, you know, no iron gloves here. Nice flexible leather. These aren't too bad though. But I have had an issue with these. Notice the difference, the length difference. I have had, believe it or not, ashes or like sparks or embers, whatever, come shooting out the top of the furnace and down into this glove and burn the back of my hand. This, I've never had that problem. I have tried both. I also kind of toasted one of these fingers a little bit, but it's fine. These leather gloves are straight up garbage. Probably not for gardening, but definitely for metal casting, because this isn't leather. This is like plastic. This would just melt right to your hand. So that is bad. Also, it's got like holes. It'd have a hole right there. That's just dumb. So welder gloves are pretty nice. You can also get fireman gloves again, which are great, which would probably be better. And I think there are specific foundry gloves with the aluminized whatever. That's even better for keeping out the heat. But leather welding gloves are a pretty good bet. Full leather gardening gloves, not as good, but they do kind of work. I would go welding gloves. Now, various other protective equipment. Got a welding mask and 2 goggles. These are 2 different kinds of goggles. The important thing to think about when protecting your eyes is primarily junk flying into your eyes. You know, it's pretty simple, right? These goggles have protected me already. They're little brown specks, which are, you know, a little scary to think like, that was a molten chunk of metal, and this is where my eye would go. So wear that. The reason I have a welding mask, even though this isn't a welding video, is because I heard a tip from someone that I think was really great. This is a large welding mask, and it has 3 lenses, or 3 pieces of, I don't know if they're glass or whatever. There's an inner one, an outer one, and a middle one that goes dark. The middle one that goes dark, you can remove. You can pop these off. In fact, this mask came with extras. Get that darkening one out and put the clear one back on, and then you will have a full face mask with a big clear opening. That would be fantastic. That protects against things not only hitting your eyes, but your nose and your cheeks and your forehead and your beard and everything that would be all exposed with just these goggles. So that would be almost ideal. The most ideal would be an actual whole clear face mask. A welding mask with a lens removed would probably work. I mean, it would take a lot to get through one of these masks. That tip, by the way, I found in a YouTube video, the tip to remove the dark lens but leave the clear one, and for the life of me, I can't find where it was, and it's really, really bothering me because I think it was a friend's video, and he might watch this and say, "Hey, jerk, you stole my idea." Well, I tried to find you. I can't. I'm incompetent. This is a respirator. It looks kind of more like a snorkel, but that's because, you know, the beard, the facial hair. Normal respirators won't seal against a beard too easily. This is like a scuba mouthpiece. You put your lips here, your teeth here. So this goes between your lips and your teeth. You breathe in through here and out through here. They're like one-way valves and stuff. Respirators are more important than you think with metal casting. When you grind the stuff in the end, you end up with powder coming off. That's a problem. That's what these filters are for. But also, some different metals give off fumes. Lead gives off fumes. Zinc gives off fumes. Brass has zinc in it. You don't want the zinc fumes coming out of that unknowingly. It looks like white smoke. Don't breathe that. It's bad. You'll get sick. But the important thing to remember here are these filters. These filters that came with this is called a respirator. I'll put a link in the description. It's pretty cool. These are for particulates. That's about it. So metal shavings or that kind of thing, when I'm grinding away after the casting, I'm getting all the casting junk off of it. That's what these are for. If you want to like protect yourself from fumes, there we go. You need to make sure the filters you get are designed for those fumes. The filter will have stuff on it, will have the information on it. Like this kind of filter protects against lead fumes or whatever. Make sure the filters are correct. Don't just assume filters are good enough. Like aluminum dust, this is great for aluminum dust. Zinc fumes, I might as well just, take the thing off and breathe deeply of the zinc fumes, because these aren't going to do jack for that. Hearing protection. You might not think that's a huge deal, but some parts of this are very, very loud, especially the grinder. Cleaning up the casting when you're done with the grinder, it's very loud, so don't neglect hearing protection. And the last thing I'll bore you with, a bag of sand and a crucible for a demonstration. The bag of sand is to pour on the ground around where you're casting. If you put your mold here and you're going to pour it, it's all rammed up and the furnace is wherever. Mold here, sand goes all around it. This is sort of a do as I say, not as I do thing, because I haven't actually done that, because I do it in my driveway. But the sand, if you have a layer of sand around, then if you have a spill, the metal will stop on the sand. No problem. You spill metal on the concrete, there could be water trapped in the concrete and it will pop and send chunks of concrete flying everywhere, covered in molten metal all over you and your stuff, and that's not good. So that's a good idea, which I haven't done, but you should. And since, legal disclaimer, I am not liable for anything that you tried. Do casting at your own risk. In fact, if you're worried about risk, don't do casting. This is a crucible. You have seen this in an earlier video. I didn't post a lot of videos involving this crucible, but I recorded a few extra ones that I never did upload. This was a crucible I used for copper. And here's proof I was able to successfully make copper ingots. I think the discs are better, just as an FYI. It doesn't like cooling weirdly from this chunk. But yeah, that's a different story. And to move this crucible around, I was using this. Channel locks. Bad. Channel locks bad. This is clay, so it's not all that tough. And when it's hot, it's even less tough. And I was doing this to pour. So that's bad. That's a great way to really wreck the crap out of your crucible. So what you really need, which I don't have either, are crucible tongs. You've seen that. They're like tongs that go down. That will help you move this around with molten metal inside and not risk breaking this. That seems like normal casting equipment, but it really should be safety equipment too, because you don't want this breaking and just spilling crap all over. They also have like pouring things, and basically if it's not designed to move a crucible around when it's hot, don't use it to move a crucible around when it's hot. Ignore the fact that I used to use channel locks. Channel locks bad. Me bad.